as artists and educators, we discovered that the process we go through to create new artistic work is strikingly similar to our teaching process.
And we are here today to share with you how those things in our creative process transfer to the teaching and learning that happen in our classrooms. We're going to share 4 big ideas with you: education, collaboration, facilitation, and implementation.
So now to do this, we're going to work backwards through the title of our talk here to share new and modified descriptors of these 4 big ideas, starting with the first one, education. The process of receiving or giving systematic instruction. So we're going to change or with and you get the process of receiving and giving systematic instruction. By changing this tiny preposition, we're actually shifting the dynamic of the educational process, turning it into an exchange or a back and forth, and you could even say a relationship. Knowledge is created by both parties and serves as a conduit that moves in both directions. Now compare this to an orchestra working on a new composition, or maybe a group of dancers working collaboratively together. The work is being made out of repetition and practice and conversations. So as performers, we always seek to learn how to connect with our audience, or maybe our fellow stage performers, or our instruments, or maybe even our bodies. By continuously receiving information in the present, we're able to adapt to our surroundings, allowing us to fully understand and evaluate our current position and how that position relates to others.
All right, so we've covered education. Moving on to the second big idea, is collaboration. Our world is changing rapidly, and collaboration is a necessary skill for our students as they move into a modern workplace that relies heavily upon change and innovation in order to maintain relevancy. Art also is a collaborative experience. Artists collaborate with other artists, they collaborate with designers, they collaborate with technicians, and maybe most importantly, they collaborate with the audience. Art relies on the complicity of the viewer. In tandem, education is a collaborative endeavor in that students are working together to create knowing through experience, right? So, students working with instructors and each other on a problem or a project or a creative process are able to create knowing and ways of knowing that go way deeper than mere memorization. Collaboration also has a weight of agreement to it, right? So there's a weight of exchange or back and forth. And there's sort of a contract to collaboration. That contract really indicates that students who understand their strengths are able to contribute to the strength of the group in a really important way. Powerful things happen when this idea moves into a classroom, and students begin to understand that the way that they are strong and the way that they are getting better makes the whole group get better.
So now we're going to move on to our next big idea, which is facilitation. And facilitate means to make a process easier. Now, artists, we see facilitation from multiple perspectives. Maybe we work to facilitate our collaborator's vision, or we try to facilitate the audience experience. Now, this does not mean that the creative process is easy. It means that the creative process is about finding the best way for the work to be born or experienced. But now, what if facilitation wasn't just a tool that was used in the classroom by the teacher? What if it actually was a part of the philosophy of the teacher? What if the teacher truly believed that their job was to create new frames through which their students learn? So now as teachers, we see this as making the learning process attainable to our students, and as artists, we view this as making sure that the message of the work is delivered to the audience. So both learning and creating are about making something out of nothing, spinning new webs using previous knowledge as anchors.
So we've covered education, collaboration, facilitation, one more Asian, implementation. How do these ideas make their way into the classroom? Implementation cannot be achieved by checking a form or a box on a form. It doesn't work that way. These ideas of education, collaboration, facilitation must be lived and practiced. And that's really the only way to teach them. So we think that the most important thing that you can do in the classroom is live these values. Engage in a creative process with your students. Have them engage in one with themselves, and then make something with them.
So now let's connect the creative process to the process of teaching. Both experiences include education, collaboration, facilitation, and implementation. So the work that happens in the classroom parallels the work that happens in the practice space, the rehearsal hall, or even the dance studio. So the classroom and the studio is the place where the meaning making is carved out of hours and hours of practice and dialogue and sweat and questioning and arguing and most importantly, listening. There is an energy of inspiration around the spaces where art is created, and we really want to bring this idea and this energy and feeling into the classroom on a consistent basis.
The classroom is not the concert hall. Education is not a performance. Standardized tests and the legislation of standardized tests has really led our society and our culture to believe that there's an endpoint of learning, and there's a measurable endpoint in learning. And I think that's a big mistake. Really, assessment is important in the creative process and in education, but it's a reason to keep going, not a reason to say, I'm done.
So as artists, we've learned how to work tirelessly on a craft from multiple angles, and we have the abilities to develop our own ideas, our own language, and our own unique perspectives, and how that perspective relates to the individual, the group, the audience, and the community. So we believe that allowing time and space in the classroom for students to engage in their own ideas, to create their own language, and to develop their own perspectives make them lifelong learners and empathetic participants in our local, national, and global societies of the 21st century.
Students who create their own learning understand how they learn best, in addition to developing a deep understanding of the content they are studying. We like to think of the classroom as an endless experiment, where students and teachers can live the questions together. As constructivist Jean Piaget says, the principal goal of education in the schools should be creating individuals who are capable of doing new things, not simply repeating what other generations have done.
So Maggie and I create interdisciplinary work and perform together often, but we thought it would be more fitting for us to invite our students here to perform with us today. So here they are, yep. And hopefully some of our words and our actions have affected them in the way that they learn and the way that they create.
So to conclude our talk, here are students from the Edina High School Chamber Orchestra and SPCPA alum Sophie Walker performing an entr'acte, a bridge between two places.